Hello, Beep Ball world. Welcome back to the Beep Ball Blues Show, the currently musicless Beep Ball Blues Show. I'll explain that.
There's your music.
I was actually going to ask you, guests that nobody knows is on here yet, that I was going to ask you to maybe throw me some background music, but I think if we talk over each other, the sound will be just as bad as if I played the music. So
I got my trusty Amazon unit here. Throw some background music.
No, I would love it, but I don't think the sound will still be bad.
Yeah, it'd be pretty crappy. Yeah.
There's no music opening this show. Nevertheless, I am the 2000 offensive MVP, 5-time world champion, leader, captain of this ship, Neil McDada. Happy Father's Day, everybody. Happy Father's Day to you, Mr. Alvin P.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, Alvin M. Suarez, my guest this week. I know I don't say the names right, Suarez. I don't have that, Suarez. Yeah. Suarez. Yeah.
Nah, you did fine, man. Some people say Suarez. And I've had people say Schwartz or Suarez.
I'm guessing that's all white people saying those.
Not even just all white people. Yeah, not even just white people. It's funny, like, for those who follow baseball, which is, just about all of us, Carlos Beltran from the Mets, when he used to play with the Mets, his name is actually Beltran. So the accent is, it's supposed to be Beltran. But even he said, like, he got so used to people saying Beltran, he said Beltran. And so he would mispronounce his own name because he kind of adapted to the way everybody else is saying it. But yeah, it's supposed to be Beltran.
Funny, I've made it 20 seconds before going off my notes and into the weeds. But one of my longtime teammates and somebody you're probably not familiar with yet, but Eric Mazariegos, who has been one of the best beep ball players in the history of our game. When I first met him back in 1988, he told me his last name was Mazariegos. And so I always just called him Mazariegos. And then he starts winning MVPs and defensive tournament, offensive tournament. Every year Eric was on one or both of the teams, and they would butcher his name at the banquet, giving him his awards. But at one point, our Michael Garrett from Houston was our president. He actually said the name right. He's like Mazariegos. And I'm sitting there, I'm yelling for the crowd, Mazariegos. I'm tired of them always saying his name wrong. And Eric's like, actually, Neil, he said the name right. I'm like, why have you been telling me all these years Mazariegos? He's like, well, you're a white guy. You wouldn't get it right anyway. So he taught me to say his name incorrectly because he didn't think I was saying it correctly.
He got used to it.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's not even fair, man. Just a disclaimer. So I'm a crappy cameraman. So we're either looking at my face barely or we're looking at my dresser drawer with like a bunch of crap on top of it. My TV, my baseball, my sports clothing, my jeans. So I don't know what we're looking at right now. So yeah, bear with me, y'all out there.
That's funny. That was part of my opening thing. Like, for one, there's no opening music now because of the sound. Also,
there's gonna be some shaky ass camera work. My god.
Also, letting people know that I do have better sound on the way. I'm hoping by the time I'm going to have Eric Rodriguez on next week, I'm hoping my sound will be improved by that point. But also, just like Alvin said, I apologize. Yesterday, I had a sighted guest on with me, and I was able to get myself squared away on the camera a little better. So just like Alvin, if my camera isn't lined up that great, I apologize. I will keep working on getting that better.
Let's keep the expectations low visually.
So, Alvin,
yes, sir.
Getting into you now, my guess. For people that don't know, Alvin has never played beep baseball. Well, I don't know. You never played beep ball. You've never been part of an NBBA team going to the World Series in the past. Mm-hmm. You're like my age. I'll be 52 10 days from today. And I know you're somewhere close to my age, correct?
I'm 49. I just turned 49.
So 49 to finally find his way into the Beep Ball World Series, or into the Beep Ball World, period, for the first time, and end up on the Indy Edge. I told people on a little promo Friday night that I've wanted to I wanted to reach out to an Edge player and an Indy Thunder player because of the fact that this game's coming up on the 27th. So I was like, I'll highlight some of the teams that are playing right now. And I didn't know who I'd go to at the Edge. And then I bump into you on Facebook. It's like, I find out, you're with the Edge. I'm like, boom, I got my Edge player. Even though some of the other Edge players don't even know this guy yet. I know this guy. So
that's true. I haven't met the entire team yet.
I'm going to jump in. Before all my shows, Alvin, I always send out a questionnaire to all my tens and tens of fans and find out what kind of stuff they would like me to ask my guests. And the number one question for you, 93.7 of my guests would like to know why you unfriended me on Facebook.
I did a major cleanup. Yeah, no, I'm sorry, bro. I did a major cleanup a few years ago, and you didn't seem active on there, and like we didn't really interact.
No,
yeah, so
right.
I was like, I got rid of people that weren't active or that weren't, that weren't like interacting with me. So I was like, maybe I don't think he's on. So yeah, it wasn't any personal thing. You're an entertaining dude, bro. Like I'm like, I'm thinking, okay, maybe once he is active, then we'll friend each other again or whatever. We'll run into each other again. So and we did.
100% messing with you. I haven't. Before I dove
right now.
Before I dove into this show, I had not been active on Facebook. Before the pandemic period, I really hadn't done anything. All of a sudden, I'm out there playing my guitar and singing and stuff.
Nice.
I don't know why I've jumped back in on Facebook. But
gosh, since this pandemic, I mean, I've never played like RS games so much like ever in my life until this pandemic. I play so many games. Like, damn, I feel like a game addict now. Like and the funny thing is we're going to have to learn social skills again. Like once we all start getting back to work and stuff, like, like it's bad enough we still got to like social distance and stuff, put on our masks, but like, it's going to be weird to shake hands with people. It's going to be like, we're going to, we have to learn how to put pants on again. Like, we have to like not forget. And then we have to get used to not having food at our disposal every time we think we're hungry. Like, there's a lot to get used to again. And I say it in jest, but some of that's kind of like,
you're absolutely,
it's not really a surprise if that's the case with people.
I actually, I really like this show's always been to try to get away from the virus stuff. So I don't want to go too far out, but I'm not totally convinced we will go completely back. Like, I think like the scare of the spread is going to be enough to where, like, socially, I think some stuff is not going to stay the way it is right now, but I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle. Yeah, I think the new normal is going to be somewhere in the middle. But that I have nothing to base that on.
And New York, like we got hit really hard, and I'm in New York City, not even like just like upstate. Like I'm in New York City. We literally, we're the ones that were the hardest hit because I mean, look at the population. It's a huge city with a lot of people, and not only a lot of people, but it's not like we're not spread out. Like it's just it's a lot of apartment buildings. Right. Everyone's living on top of one another. And then we're always like the huge subway system.
Oh yeah,
like there's so many ways to spread it in this city.
For any kind of anything that can spread, New York's probably the worst place to be, just because the tremendous interaction on a daily basis between people. What part of New York are you in?
I'm actually still in the Upper East Side of Manhattan right now. I was born in East Harlem. And East Harlem, sorry, I gotta move my camera. I was born just 3 blocks from here, right over the border of East Harlem, like 2 blocks into East Harlem. All right. So I live in a little area called Yorkville. on the Upper East Side. It used to be kind of an extension of the Upper East of East Harlem,
right?
El Barrio, or Spanish Harlem, if you will.
Okay.
But they gentrified it like back in the 80s, and I'm one of the survivors here with a rent control apartment. So
wow, lucky you.
Yeah. So I don't get the
need a roommate. I might move. You got rent control.
Yeah, you pick your 6 inches of the apartment. I'll pick my 6 inches because it's a tiny apartment. Man.
Right.
It's just a little 1-bedroom, but it serves my purpose. My daughters come on the weekends, and I have the little it's like a bunk bed with a couch under it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Where the bottom bed is
like
a couch,
like a homemade bunk bed.
Yeah, it's kind of it's they actually sell those. They make them. It's like a couch with a loft on top of it.
Okay.
But it's I guess they call it a bunk bed with a couch rather than the bottom bed. It's really cool. So I got that for when the girls come over, and then when they're not here, it's back into being a living room. Otherwise, it's their room when they're here.
Right.
Like it works. And the area is really nice. Like I love the area. It's going to be hard to get me out of here. I don't get the brand new bells and whistles that my neighbors do, but who cares? Like, I'm paying a little less, well, a lot less than my neighbors do. And, let them have the new stuff. It's hard to find homes these days, especially in major cities like New York. Yeah. You just grab onto whatever God gives you the opportunity to have. And I was grandfathered into this lease because my mom had this place. So I got lucky, man. So it's been in the family since 1970, actually.
So much of life is being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I'm blessed, man. I got lucky. I got not a lot of people can say that.
So tell me, how does a 49-year-old El Gordo from New York find his way to the Indy Edge?
All right. So, believe it or not,
share as much, like, you're
absolutely.
I know you from goalball. I met you in a goalball tournament 30 years ago.
Yeah,
91. So
it's too bad that you retired from beep baseball. Like I would have loved to beat you in 2 different sports, bro.
Honestly, I've never announced my retirement from anything. I had to leave my team, and until I just never ever play again, I don't know what I am.
I'd love to see you out there, man.
Thank you.
And actually, inquiring minds want to know, because I can't remember for the life of me. Like I was talking with my brother Derek the other day.
Yeah.
And I remember. Okay, so I remember you guys in goalball with the California Rebels. Yeah. There was you. There was Bam Bam.
Yep.
I can't remember. Who was the third guy? I can't remember.
His name's Tony Lewis.
Tony Lewis.
He's older than us. He was a mentor to Seth, somebody I played baseball with. He's big, like in the NFB. For years, he worked in Colorado, like at that training center and the NFB place. So I know a lot of NFB people are Philadelphia. He grew up in Philadelphia, so that tournament where I met you was in Philly, if you remember that.
Yeah.
Or just
in
outside
Pennsylvania.
of Philly. And Tony Lewis actually,
Valley Forge.
Yeah, because that knucklehead didn't get us any hotels before we landed there. He had us. He had us set up at the School for the Blind there.
Overbrook. Yeah,
Overbrook. So I actually got to camp out at Overbrook for a weekend.
They still host go-ball tournaments there during the season.
Oh, cool.
They're not like USABA sanctioned, but they're like for fun tournaments. So
right.
They do it about 3 times a year. So I'm looking forward to going there again. And it brings back memories from the first time I was there. But I guess just to answer your question. All right. So believe it or not, I'm not an adapted baseball rookie. In beep baseball, yes, I'm a rookie. But I also played the other baseball, the other adapted baseball, the one that was invented, I guess, in Italy.
Okay.
So I'll get into that a little bit. Now I know, there are, hardliners on both sides, but I always tell folks, like, I'm one of the very few that's actually tried both.
Right.
And I always tell, one crowd, hey, look, man, like if you love baseball, you really shouldn't have a problem with the other one. I saw this article from an Italian paper that kind of poo-pooed beep baseball a little bit. And I told them, look, if you want Americans to like participate in this kind of baseball, don't crap on beep baseball, because at least beep baseball is an established league. The competition is fierce. It is baseball. And it's very popular in the United States. Like, you can't poo-poo it like that. But then
in all fairness, like it's just a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, when that Italian league you're talking about kind of reached out to the NBBA, and I remember as the rules of the Italian version of beep baseball were coming out, that like our side was poo-pooing that also, in all fairness.
Right. That's what I'm saying. And I was just going to get into that.
Both sides. Yeah, go ahead.
And I tell them, I tell the NBBA, beep ballers, like, you know what, like, it's a different set of challenges. There are you have to adapt to baseball as best as you possibly can for us to be able to play it. And there are a lot of aspects of that other baseball that are so realistic, because I used to play baseball when I could see a little bit.
Me also. I had eyesight
when I had like usable vision.
Yeah.
And like that baseball involves, like, you actually have to run all the bases.
Right.
The bases are all 90 feet apart. You have to feel the ball and throw it. You have to run all the way home to score, not just one base.
Right.
But then with this baseball, with beep baseball, okay, like the other baseball is self-pitch, it's a one-arm swing, which means I use a lighter bat for that baseball. Right. Whereas beep baseball, even though the pitcher's on your team and there's like a chemistry that has to be developed with repetition and practice, right, it is a batted ball. You're hitting a ball that's in the air, and you have to really hit it like real baseball. So they each have their good things about it. Like the other baseball, it's a smaller ball, so it's even though it's self-pitch, it's that makes that part of it a little harder, and it's got bells in it like a go ball. So so if it stops rolling and you can't find it, you're screwed. That's a hit, man. You better get to it right away.
Yeah.
Beep baseball.
When you're saying
a harder, bigger ball.
When you're saying self-pitch, so you doing like you do like as a sighted kid when you're just messing around in the yard, throwing the ball up and hitting it, or what do you mean self-pitch?
So there, you could do it in any. There are no style points, so you could do it any way you want. A lot of us are taught to just hold it in place and let it go, usually about belly button high. And what a lot of the good players do, they'll drop it and they'll just know how to hit it, almost like you're serving in tennis, but from underneath rather than overhead.
Okay.
Now, like go ball, there has to be a controlled aggression with hitting. So, for example, like, how in beep baseball, it has to go. Sorry, I'm near my window, so you're hearing all the siren sounds. This is New York City, folks.
It gives us ambiance.
Yes, exactly. This is my city here. I'm also 3 blocks from the hospital. So, so how in beep baseball, you have to hit it 40 feet for it to go fair.
Yeah.
In the adapted baseball, I call it adapted baseball.
Okay.
It has to go outside the cutout of the diamond in order for it to be fair. So
outside the infield.
But the thing is, it has to hit the ground at least once before it goes over that line.
Oh, so you can't just
into fair territory.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a safety thing, because what happens is, let's say, for example, if you try to play, if you're a fielder and you try to play the ball before it hits over the line, you're gonna go into the baseline. Because there are actual base runners.
Okay.
You can actually, a guy running from second to third can crash right into you. So it has to be fair before you can go play it. So what happens is fair territory is out of harm's way, so that an actual base runner, because the baselines are in foul territory. So, and to increase the fairness of it, a base runner cannot run until the ball's deemed to be fair. Once the umpire says fair, you can steal. So basically what happens is, if that if a ball is thrown away, you can actually, so basically when you get to a base, second base, for example, the coach that's on second, that's on your team, they have clappers, like noisemakers, so you can get to the base.
Okay.
They'll point you toward third base. But remember, since you're on the real baseball field, you can also feel underneath your feet if you're on the baseline or not. So like you're on the dirt or the gravel, whatever it is, the field's made out of, you're able to run to third. And then the third base has its own noisemaker coach with clappers, and you can advance at your own risk if the ball is thrown away, and that's considered a steal. However, so in real baseball, all plays are at first. In this baseball, all plays are at second. The second base person is the only sighted fielder. So the blind fielders have to play the ball and throw it to second.
Okay.
And they're actually two bags. One's behind the other. They're a few feet apart.
So it's one bag is the defensive bag for that player,
yes.
and one is for the offensive
for the base
player?
runner.
Okay.
Yeah. So if the second base person is allowed to play a ball if it's thrown away, or one of the blind fielders has to go get it and throw it to second. But if they pick it up and throw it to second before you make it to third, you're out. And and you can also turn double plays or triple plays. So, for example, if you got runners on second and third, and there's a batted ball, the batter has to round first. You touch first, which beeps. First is the only base. First and home are on. There are no coaches on there, and I'll explain that a little bit further too. So, first base beeps. We go around it.
We have officially turned this into the Italian Beep Ball League.
Yeah, that's right. I know it's a beep ball crowd, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But basically, if a fielder picks up the ball
right
before, let's say, any of the runners make it to any of their bases, all of them are out. So anybody who hasn't crossed over to the next base is out. So you can turn a double or triple play. And of course, beep baseball. There's none of that.
None of that.
Yeah, because you pick up the ball, and the umpire looks, and you put it up so the umpire can see it, and of course, as beep ballers know, the runner's out, and that's 100 feet, I believe, between home and either first or third.
How did you?
Oh yeah.
I guess I want to know how you ended up with the Edge, but how did you end up playing in this league? Because I didn't think nobody's playing that here in the States, are they? Where?
New York. In New York, we are.
Really?
Since 2015, there has been like one larger team of that baseball. Now, in that baseball, you don't need as many people as you do in beep baseball. You only need maybe anywhere from 5 to 8 people per team.
Like for a team?
Yeah, because you get 5 fielders plus the sighted fielder.
Okay, all right.
And then which means you get 5 people in a starting lineup.
Right.
You can also, just like beep baseball, you can use a designated hitter or designated fielder.
Okay.
So you can bring reserves.
Yeah.
At one point, they had about 10 to 12 people, which is enough for 2 teams. But at that point, there was no branching off. I was part of the New York Rockers team. That baseball just kept evolving. I joined in 2017. Mm-hmm. And only last year did we finally go to a real international tournament that they held in Italy. So I was able to go to Rome to play I think it was an 6 or 18 tournament.
Wow. How did you guys do?
Team. Well, we were the new kids on the block, we weren't gonna. Yeah, we got beat on a little bit, but there were a lot of 1-0 games too.
Wow, that's cool.
But the 2 best teams were Cuba and Italy, and they played a really good game. So for us, like we got killed by Italy, but every other game that we played was competitive. We lost 1-run games all the time. So it's not like we only really got smoked by like the best team, the team that ended up winning it all in that tournament. But we were the only U.S. team. Now, since then, well, unfortunately and fortunately at the same time, the Rockers split up and joined and created a new team called the New York Lions, which I'm a part of as well.
Oh, okay.
A lot of disagreements and stuff with coaching and stuff like that and philosophies, but we branched off. A lot of the former Rockers joined the new Lions team. So now there are two teams because the Rockers, I understand, have rebuilt their team. So unfortunately, that baseball is not going to happen this year because the main tournament is
everything else.
Yeah, and the thing is, because the main tournament's international, international tournaments will certainly be canceled because of COVID and everything.
Yeah.
Because we're supposed to go to Germany in September. So what we're probably going to do next year is we'll probably play each other, and I guess the best team the team that wins that World Series will then go to whatever country is hosting the tournament next year. But we're trying to expand it to other cities, and we would make it hypothetically where it doesn't interfere with beep baseball. But, people have to be willing to give it a shot and try it. And, I love both, both forms of baseball. So how I got involved with the Edge, my overall quest to join beep baseball started in 2014, and I'm going to do some name dropping here, but I met Larry Hale from the Boston Renegades.
Okay.
And I was really interested in like, because I used to play sports back in the day when I was in my 20s, and unfortunately I took those times for granted. Like in my 30s, I got out of shape, I gained like a ton of weight, I just didn't really pay any mind. And then once I hit like 40, I'm like, I really got to get back in shape. And then I started getting back in shape. And then I realized like my athleticism was even better than I was in my 20s because this time I'm not taking it for granted.
Yeah.
But then I have a 40-year-old brain to go with a 20-something-year-old's body. So I'm like, I can actually, I think I can really do sports again. And I would have never done it if I didn't feel like I can help whatever team win.
Yeah.
So I started asking about beep baseball to Larry. He told me about it, and then I got more intrigued with it. And me being such a lover of baseball, I actually reached out to my home team, the Long Island Bombers first. That was back in 2017.
Did you? Were you part of the Long Island Bombers then? Before?
Never.
Oh, okay.
Nah.
Okay.
And actually, two of the Bombers play on this other baseball that I play in.
Oh, okay.
Two of them are my teammates in the Italian style baseball. Alex and Braulio.
All right.
And then Pasquale, he's a teammate of mine in Go Ball for the New York Empire. So anyway, so I
kind of the way blind sports work overall. You know what I mean? We kind of crossed over.
It's kind of cool to see. Like I saw like Zach Buehler's name on the roster. I think he's in the Thunder. I believe he is. And forgive me, Zach, if I put you in the wrong team.
There are two Zachs. One's on San Antonio. I mean, two Zachs that I know of, like as good players. One's on San Antonio, I believe, and one's on. One's on one of the Indy teams, and like you, I'm not positive.
I think it is the Thunder. Yeah, because I don't think he's in the Edge. No, I know him from Go Ball. Yeah, because I've seen him play Go Ball like on video, and I think I've seen his team in person like last year. I think so.
Okay.
I haven't met him in person. Like I haven't been introduced to him yet, but I know of him. Like I saw the name, so it's kind of cool to see Go Ballers play. And that actually has a huge factor in how I became part of the Edge. So I'll get into that in a sec. So I reached out to the Bombers in 2017. They never called me back. And, I had heard, at least from, not only like just researching and other people who even were Bombers members that the team kind of needed help. And needed, more bodies, more players that they're kind of, I guess, trying to rebuild. Yeah. And I was like, all right, let me call them up. And I called them up, and nobody ever returned my call. I thought you guys needed people, so no one returned. And then I looked them up, I researched, and they had some history there, and not all of it was positive. I'm like, all right, well, maybe I could bring some fresh, new ideas, new blood, a new body, new attitude to the team. I would have thought they would have like been interested, but they never called me back. So I'm like, all right, well. So then I joined the other baseball because I was the only team in New York that was interested. So then at least I got my feet wet with that. And then I rejoined goalball in 2018. I joined the New York Empire. And actually one of them was a guy I played with when I played in the 90s. So I'm like, oh, shoot, okay. So there's still people around from like back in the day.
Right.
And then one of the guys from the New York Knights, which is the elite New York team, one of the guys there, he was at the same, because I went to the New York School for the Blind my last 2 years of high school.
Right.
So he was also in that school. That's where I got my feet wet in goalball. So he went to that school. He was a kid when I was there. And then when I got my feet wet in adult goalball, when I graduated high school,
right.
But I played with a couple of them. I'm like, okay, it's good to see like familiar faces. And then we ended up winning a regional championship in April 2019 in the Jersey tournament for the regular men's division. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, this is we gelled together. And then I finally felt like, okay, it's good that I'm not trying to be a superstar, but anything I could do to help my team, will only be a positive, whether I come off the bench or I start. And I did both. I started and came off the bench. So then
somewhere in this story, the edge, you getting to the edge has got to come
I'm getting there. So I was picked for a commercial last summer.
Wow.
For Dove Men Plus Care as like a model / like they wanted real athletes.
That's my soul.
And I was one of it is. I like the shampoo. I use the shampoo.
I shave my head. There's no shampoo in this house, but
no shampoo.
I love
shampoo
me
your dome,
I love me some Dove plain white soap.
Like shiny, like a nice shiny dome, man. So I did this commercial for them, and I was one of 3 athletes across the country that were chosen. And by the way, I was the only blind athlete chosen.
Wow, nice.
So that was like, wow, this is great. Like it started getting kind of like serious, and I was like, I'm never going to get a modeling job anywhere else. That's like my one and only modeling job. Because joining Beep Baseball, I'm trying to get on Sports Illustrated, man, but I'm never going to make the swimsuit issue, bro. It's either Sports Illustrated or free cookies. That's why I'm getting there.
Oh, yeah, free cookies.
Free cookies, man. So anyway, so I did that commercial, and Mama Leah came out. She messaged me. I guess she saw me in one of the sports threads. I think it was the Goalball group or something. She reached out to me. She was like, so the commercial, and we're looking for new athletes to join us. And we like the fact that you play goalball because, goalball folks are really defensive minded. Right. And they're looking to kind of shore up their defense a little bit. She told me that, there were a couple of people leaving, so they were looking for some new blood, and they were doing some recruiting. They didn't mind out of town players, and she was impressed with, the level of athleticism, I guess, that was displayed not only in the commercial, but in maybe just from hearing stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe watching some video, because I think there's video of me playing out there.
Look at that. You were outed.
I was outed.
You were a scout. No, scouted.
I was definitely scouted. I was definitely. I definitely say I was scouted.
Nice.
And it's an honor. So they asked me to go ahead and try out for them. Now here's the funny part. So I had just done this Italy tournament, and then the weekend, like after I came back, that was when I went to Indiana to try out for them. So I was a little tired, but I still did okay.
Right. Stepped up.
I was all right, because at least it wasn't like how like the first practice of any preseason, there's always a little rust.
Yeah.
The advantage to playing the other baseball was that I was ready for beep baseball, because baseball is baseball. Yeah. You hit the ball, you field the ball, you run. Right. Those are the basics.
Yeah.
So I was ready to play the field, and I remember making one really nice play where they tried me in 3 different positions. I was first short right, then deep right, but left was a deep left behind Mark Morris. Okay. I made a really nice, like, I'm not trying to advertise myself, but I made a really nice running play. And I was like, man, you know, because it was natural to me, not only as a goal baller, but as a, you know, adapted baseball player.
Right.
You know, once that ball is down the line and you're playing in the gap, you better like haul ass, like run top speed, get down there, do anything you have to do to get your body in front of the ball, dive. And I dove and fielded the ball, and it would have been a put out, you know, so because you try to do it in like 6 seconds.
Yeah.
So
in the end, there's no better way to like feel good about yourself around a new group of people than shining a little, you know, jumping in and saying, look, I can do this, I can help you. So,
and you know, I love the team atmosphere. Like, you know, here I am, some stranger from New York City, and these guys don't know me from Adam, you know, and you know, I got the applause, the clap, that whole nice play, Alvin. And what I like about the coaching staff, and I complimented them as such, compared to what I was used to with the Rockers. Like, they know the game, they know baseball. Like, they keep their own stats. They're very observant of the game. But what they also do is they let you be yourself. Nice. So, you know, there's a lot of swag. You know, when you're running a team, 20, 30 people, you're dealing with 30 different personalities, right? Oh, yeah. So, and like brothers and sisters, we're gonna, you know, sometimes we're gonna fight with each other, but then once we're on the field, we're all behind one another. Right. So whenever someone made a mistake, you know, we would encourage each other. And, you know, I'm not perfect either. There are a couple of balls I could have played better, but Steve, he was like he doesn't chastise his players. He's like, you know what you could have done differently, right, Alvin? I'm like, yep, I know. Like, so he kind of lets you figure your stuff out yourself. Yeah. He doesn't talk down to his players. And I you know, the New York Rockers, there was a lot of talking down to. Yeah. So I was like, I could really get used to this. And then Mama Leah literally is a mama. Like, she treats every one of us like we're her kids. Nice. And that's a real compliment. And, you know, and then I see people's Facebook posts and stuff like that. You know, we're not always going to agree politically, but like on the field, man, we're a family. You know, that's just observing the videos.
That's why any team really, or organization in the end, to be successful needs to be. But you know, when you have a team, you're bringing a lot of different personalities and ideals together. But
thought process.
If you want to succeed as a team, you got to check your ego at the door and let it be about the group moving forward rather than like individual growth or whatever. You know what I mean?
It becomes a team ego, which is a healthy thing, because you know, as a team, you wanna have swag, you wanna have an attitude of winning. You want to have a winner's mentality. So
I think so. Absolutely.
You're right. That's where you check that individual stuff at the door. Yeah. You get in the field. Now we're a family. Now we're one. And I love it, man. I watched a lot of these videos. And I'm joining a team that's already good. So you know, anything I can do to make it better. If I could get a few more putouts, if I could get a hit every now and then. I don't know how many games I'll start. I don't know when I'll come off the bench, but either way, I'll be ready. And you know, I look at their offense. I'm like, damn, they don't really need me offensively. So if it was to shore up the defense, I can help with that, no problem.
Listen, I know you're not going to experience like the World Series tournament this year.
Yeah,
but that's a 5-day tournament. So even if like going in, you know, you didn't feel like you'd be starting like over a 5-day tournament when you're playing 2, sometimes 3 games a day. Opportunity, you know, if you're making plays and you're showing them something, opportunities gonna pop up along the way.
And also matchups, I imagine. I mean, if Steve is exactly as smart as I think he is, I'm pretty sure, because he's so observant, I'm sure he knows everybody's skill set by now.
Yeah,
and he's going to put him in there based on matchups.
Yeah. Are you planning to, because I know the Edge, they're going to be participating in the Thunder tournament that was just announced yesterday coming up late July.
I'm going in there, man.
You are?
I'm in there. Yep.
You plan on going out there September also?
I plan on going out there. Yep.
Wow, look at you,
well,
man.
that tournament's in July, I believe. So,
well, there's two. There's one, the Thunder. The Thunder's the first one, and then the Edge, your team, they're hosting a team like September 12th. I mean, a tournament.
Yeah, I'm going to that one. I didn't hear about a date actually being announced for September yet.
I think it's the 12th, the weekend.
It is? Okay. If it is, then I'm there.
Don't go buy a ticket talking to me.
Right.
Talk to your team first.
I'm going to make sure the coaching staff first. But yeah, I'm there too. I'm all in. I'm just happy to be part of a baseball season for one thing. But it's a real honor being in this team, man. I love the guys that I'm going to be playing with. I'm going to enjoy watching their offense in person. If Mark ever lets any balls get to me, because he gets to every freaking ball, man. Like, he's amazing to watch. Like, I love watching him play. Like, sometimes like, I'd be lined up, ready to, and then there he is. He gets like, oh, damn. Yeah, this guy's quick, man. And he can run. He's such a, I don't know if they do rankings in NBBA, but he's got to at least be a top 10, man. He's definitely on my top 10. And then I watch him play some center.
Any kind of rankings that you see really just
casual, probably.
Well, they're mostly just done by like the players, But his name is definitely a name that pops on.
He should be, man. He's such a great fielder. And he's got great range. And he's fast. and I'm like, I look forward to playing behind him, man. Like, he's going to make my game better because, if a ball gets by him, it's either a bad hop or a really well batted ball, or just because he gets to everything. So I better be on my game, and I better back him up because he's backing me up by getting to these balls that are in front of him. So, and then the line drives that he can't play, I'll be ready, man. I don't mind giving up the body. I do it in goal ball, so I'll give up the body. I'll dive out in front of the ball just like I did at tryouts, and I'm going to help my team. I love the Edge. I respect the players, the coaching staff, and I'm really honored that they came out and scouted me and sought me out, and they're giving me a chance. Yeah. And I feel like already like I'm part of a family. So, I'm looking forward to it. And just the camaraderie of Beep Baseball to begin with, let alone the actual team I'm joining. Like, I can tell we're going to be a really good team. We're going to shock a lot of people, even with a bunch of new folks. I'm not the only rookie. I think there are like 3 rookies, and they signed a couple of like out-of-towners that are not rookies. So it's part of the team is new, but we're going to shock a lot of people.
Yeah, you could always, when you have the kind of experience they do, you could always mix in some new people. You know what I mean? You can always you can always bring along some new blood without it hurting you too much when you've got experience. I don't know. I don't have any real close connections with the people on the Indy Edge, but I always have my ear to the ground with Beep Baseball, and I've never heard anything like bad about that group. It seems like
they know what they're doing.
I do have friends and players that I used to play with that went and played with them, and everybody seems to really like that environment.
One of the things that I really look forward to, and another thing that really attracted me to the Edge, like, they get involved with community stuff, and they work with the Thunder.
I've noticed.
So they'll try to beat each other's brains in on the field, but then together they will help. And I'm just giving examples, like maybe a homeless shelter or something like they're always out there in the community, and I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Like, I've done that with the band, with my band and stuff like that. I've done that just on my own. Like, I love getting involved, and sometimes I like, whenever possible, I'll join them. Like, sometimes I wish I kind of lived there so I could do it a little bit more. I'm going to be wearing number 21, who, and I model that number after Roberto Clemente.
Oh, okay. Hall of Fame baseball player. Yeah. He, from the Pittsburgh Pirates, he was the biggest Puerto Rican baseball star of that time, and really was a trendsetter. I'm sorry, not a trailblazer, I should say, for Puerto Rican players. I've got a terrible memory for stuff. Didn't he die like in a plane crash or something?
He did.
Like that?
He did. And what he was doing when he died in the plane crash, he was delivering goods and supplies to Nicaragua for after they had like a really bad earthquake. So he was all about community involvement too, and he literally gave up his life for it.
Right.
Now, in Major League Baseball, so my background, I'm Puerto Rican, Cuban, and Guatemalan. That's but I was born here in the States, but that's where my family's from. Okay. In Major League tradition, Puerto Ricans don't wear the number 21. They'll wear 20, 22, or 12, like Roberto Alomar, for example.
Out of respect for...
Out of respect.
Okay.
So I was, and I thought about that, about wearing 21. Obviously, NBBA, it's the majors for baseball players.
Yeah.
But, I thought about that. I was like, should I wear 21? And then it's like, okay, I'm not fully Puerto Rican, but like, I think the number 21 for me should serve, not because I'm trying to be Roberto Clemente. No one will ever be Roberto Clemente, but, but if I can at least model his hustle, and model the community involvement and just the selflessness and the team spirit, then at least I could do that number some kind of justice. But just
listen, if you're like, especially when you just talked about like your reasons or whatever, you honor somebody like that and the way you're doing it, man. That's good stuff.
I look up to him. I like it, man.
Thumbs
I was
up.
a baby when he retired, but but I read about him, I saw footage, and I really look up to him. So that number is very meaningful to me.
That's cool.
So I look forward to putting it on my back with Indy Edge in the front. That's going to be an honor, because they model that kind of example. At least to me, they do.
Yeah. No, cool, man. Thumbs up. I like that. That's all good stuff. With you you throwing in like your heritage, I feel like that's a good transition to go into your music. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if you agree, but
that's fine. Yeah, no, that's good.
I think that's a good transition to your music.
Absolutely.
I guess mostly because you don't. A lot of the music you played isn't American music, so I assume the music you're playing's got a lot to do with your heritage.
Yeah.
Tell us about your musical background. I think you're very talented.
Thanks, man. Thank you. I fake it very well. So I am a Latin musician, but also a rock musician. So I play for a band called Los Ciegos del Barrio. It means the blind guys from the neighborhood, or the blind guys from the hood.
Yeah, that was actually further down in my question, because in my questions about your music, because I remember from like 6, 8, 10 years ago when we were friends before the first time on Facebook. But I remember you posting a lot of music. Like our friend Jimmy was in there, right? Your brother also?
Yeah, so my brother's in that band. Jimmy moved out of state, but really far.
Yeah.
And then one of the other guys moved to Massachusetts. Now, luckily, he can still come down for some gigs, but Jimmy, he's too far to join us for our gigs.
I understand.
So, admittedly, I did sulk a little bit about it, and I sat on, like, he moved in the beginning of 2019, and we were recording an album like in 2018. And I recorded a track that I was about to release as a single, but then I kind of sat on it. But we did some retooling. We put a couple of younger folks in there. One of the backups is now a regular, and we're about to release a brand new single called Our Land. We do a lot of fusion now, so it's not only Latin, but a lot of the music we do is Latin based. There's a lot of fusion, like we'll do rock and Latin, but a lot of our songs are bilingual. So there's English and Spanish.
Okay, all right.
And that was really evident in our 2016 album, El Futuro. There's a lot of like bilingual stuff in there, rock, pop, mixed in with salsa, bachata, merengue, even like reggaeton. So this album,
isn't that an Italian noodle or something?
That's rigatone.
Oh, my
rigatoni.
bad.
Rigatoni.
My
Rigatoni.
bad.
Yo, you're making me hungry, man. Now I'm gonna have to order some rigatoni, bro. Yeah, you know, it'd be really funny if I call up a restaurant and order rigaton. With a side of Oreos.
A dummy like me wouldn't even know you're saying it wrong.
Rigatoni. Oh, man. Now, you know what's going to happen? I'm going to do a music interview, and I'm going to call it rigatoni. Watch. That's totally going to happen.
Sorry if I messed you up.
Nah, you we worked with a rapper from DC named AI Righteous. The name Los Ciegos del Barrio was actually a joke by the guy that we used to use as our front guy, who has unfortunately passed away this year, named Jamie or Jaime Diaz. He named the band as a joke. You know, we never thought we would last like over 20 years. So we just kind of joked around. We're just, kind of drinking beer and just jamming out in the living room here. Yeah. But eventually that name became, because I'm the director of the band. I started the band, but eventually it turned into, music as a platform, and it's a sense of power, and it's a really good place to have a message. So then it became, well, how do you want to define or be an example of the blind boys from the hood? How do you want to be an example of what it means to be a blind musician? Well, the best way to do that is you get on your platform, you state your message based on who you are rather than what you are, right? So the music is who we are. The band name might be what we are, but that's not, the name is not us. It's the music that's us. It's what we do in and out of the music. It's what we want to say in our music. That's who we are. And that's what Los Ciegos del Barrio is now. I mean, it took me a while to really learn that, because it went from, let's just have fun, rah, 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 rock and roll, to I can actually use this. In 2016, we were the recipients of an award here in New York City. It was the City Access Achievement Award for our contributions to numerous charities and community organizations. And they loved our sense of community, so they gave us an award. I was actually on People Magazine in 2016.
Look at this guy. Indy Edge getting a celebrity.
Sort of, yeah. And now some people are like, well, it's people.com, right? I'm like, more people read the online magazine than they do the print magazine, right? Like, you do know that, right? So
they still put it in print.
Yeah, I know, right? I have a better shot of being on the swimsuit issue of Sports Illustrated than I do on the print cover of People Magazine at this point. But yeah, but it was an honor, man. I was like, wow,
definitely.
That's a lot more than just 15 minutes of fame. That's pretty darn good. So then it became serious. I was like, now I really better use the music for good and for a message. So the song I sat on all this time, we're about to release this coming week. It's called Our Land. I'm going to blast it on Facebook at some point. Nice. But it really speaks out. And here's the funny thing with the current environment in this country. It's an accident. And it's unfortunate that it's still so much of an issue now. But it's not a left or right issue. It shouldn't be. Racism is wrong, no matter what, right? Yeah. When we speak for equality, we are speaking for everybody. We may be speaking for those who are marginalized, but it's supposed to suit everybody.
That argument has never been for the people on equality. The argument's never been for equality for those to the left or equality for those to the right. Equality means those.
Equality.
Yeah, those.
It really is. Yeah. It benefits.
It's fair to everybody. It's
oppose it. It works for you too. It works for all of us. If everyone's treated justly and fairly, it works for all of us.
It should.
If people really think, okay, this person has it better than we do, this person, but then they have less than we do we really want to switch places with them? we're so worried about what we have, and we want more, and then we don't want others to have what we have. We're so focused on that, then it becomes a situation where we don't appreciate what we have, because we could lose it all in a heartbeat. So it's
absolutely.
Like, if someone wants a piece of the pie, like, is that really so much to give? You know, and is anybody really down with this unjust treatment of folks? Like, why do we even, like, why is that even an argument? So, so the song spoke out against, you know, how immigrants are treated, but the rapper, his name is AI Righteous, from DC, is, you know, also rapping to his community and preaching, you know, his message is about positivity and coming together,
right?
And about appreciating how Black role models paved the way for you know, the current Black folks today. But then we fused it together with the Latin community's message as well, and it really gelled, and it became a really good song for this time, because while it denounces racism, you know, it also talks about getting together and, you know, really standing up for those who stand up for us as a people, because, like I said, it's not a left-right thing. And it should not be a color thing, but unfortunately, you know, it just
always,
kind of
always has been.
It always has been.
Always has
and
been.
It just shouldn't be. So, and it's a shame that we're still having these discussions in 2020.
Yes, I totally agree.
And it's a shame. You know, if a kid falls down and cuts their knee and starts crying, like, it hurts, right?
Right.
You can't tell a kid shut up. Like, listen to the kid. Like,
right.
What about working? Like, nobody. Like, we need to pay attention to people's feelings. It's almost like having feelings has become out of style, right? Yeah. You know, they're supposed to be, get over it. No, man, people get hurt, man. Like, this is some real pain. Like, nobody's making this up. Like what we're seeing, it's not like. But then people spin it in other ways for their own convenience, and you know, but it's just wrong to tell a kid that's in pain to shut up.
Yeah, no, I mean, just going from that, like, I bring it up to the adult level. Like, I'm not in a position to say what your pain is. Only you can do that. You're not in a position to say what my pain is. You know what I mean? And it goes that way across the board. If somebody says, hey, man, you know, this action hurts me, what's wrong with listening to those words? You
exactly.
know? Why should anybody feel like they're in a position to say, you know what, this shouldn't hurt you?
We're all in the position to listen to each other.
Absolutely.
Like, I welcome differences. Like, I get intrigued with cultural differences. Because I look at it as a learning experience. Then I can learn about their culture, learn about the things that are not quite the same. Like, we should embrace each other's differences. But I think we've become more divided, and it's a shame. And I'll give, and there are people on my team that are going to feel and think differently than I do. But you know, they're my brothers, man. Like, I'm going to look at them like my brothers.
Right.
We're all in the same. You know, we're all the same on the field. We're all people, and you know, ultimately speaking, the things that we speak for and denounce are for all of us. So, you know, when I win with my team, I hug them. You know, when I lose with my team, I pick them up. It's the same. It's a brotherhood.
Yeah, no,
and that's the way it should be in this.
That's the way life evolves. Going back to your song, a request, and I want you to put your info out here for people. But my request is because, you know, I'll post this show with the link in the Beep Ball Nation. Sure. When you're ready to release, put stuff about your song out there, I'd like you to add it to, like, this post. You know, since this is
okay, yeah.
So
I sure will.
So it'll be easy for people to find and relate it to, you know, to the show you did. But go ahead right here and tell people where they can track you down to check out your music.
Okay, so we are on iTunes, Los Ciegos del Barrio. You could get us on Spotify, Apple Music. Like we're in all those platforms. I know a lot of people are not really buying hard copy CDs anymore, but CD Baby would be where you do it. Now we are going to try a new distribution service called DistroKid, but right now we're releasing the single digitally until we eventually release the album later this year. But we're on every single. Oh, and we're also on YouTube. And then we have a Facebook page as well, Los Ciegos del Barrio. And I guess I got to spell it out for those who don't.
Well, when you post it on the go ahead,
that's probably better. Well, okay, Los is LOS, and then Ciegos CIEGOS, and then Del, and then Barrio. That's really all it is. So DEL and then BARRIO. So, and I highly recommend the 2016 album El Futuro, or voiceover might read it El Futuro, because that's a bilingual album. So I think it would have appeal to English and Spanish speaking people alike. So give that a listen.
I personally I don't know any other language. Like the closest thing to saying I'm bilingual is the fact that I read Braille. So I'm not at all bilingual, but I personally, I love the Latin sound,
Me too.
Latin beats, Latin rhythms, even like some of the pop music that has Spanish in it, they're one of my favorites still right now is I know Demi Lovato and Fonzie, somebody that I don't really want to fight anymore. Like I love it.
I know,
even though like half that song I got no idea what the heck they're singing, but I love it. You know what I mean?
Me too. And I have to pay homage to the folks that paved the way for that, like a Richie Valens, for example. La Bamba and Freddie Fender and like all those folks. And then Santana
crossover stuff.
Yeah, and they kind of introduced Latin music to like the pop audience, and then came like the boogaloo style of like salsa music, and then more recently Ricky Martin, Mark Anthony. And then Carlos Santana picking that up from where his former band left off. And Latin music has really taken off to a point where it's actually part of American culture. And
it's a big part of American pop right now, I think.
And there's so many of us from of Latin descent in this country. Like, why not? And it only makes sense that now Latin music is in English too, because we've adapted to the American English language, and why not infuse that in their music? And let's face it, like the rhythms, like you can't help wanting to dance to it. I always tell people, like when we're playing, because we play for a lot of non-Latin audiences, I always tell people, don't worry, man, just dance, let your body. We're not watching because it's an all-blind band. So we're not. Don't worry, man, we won't tell anybody.
A few people weren't doing a salsa to our dance. It's all right to our music. Man. Where are you? Nobody.
And this is great stuff, and they love it. Like sometimes they forget, it's an all-blind band. They forget, who. That we're all different. Like the differences are forgotten once we're on stage and they're on the dance floor. It's all part of one big party, just like it would be, on a beep baseball field. It's the same concept. So I hope to bring that attitude from stage onto the baseball field. I want to see that stuff. I feel like whenever we do a gig and we make people dance and everybody's happy and they want more, and it's like, sorry, man, the show, we got to go. It's over, but we'll be back next time. That's like a win for us. But it's when the band wins, like all of us win. So when we win as individuals on the field, the team wins. I think the community wins. Togetherness always wins. We always lose when we're not together. That's guaranteed.
Boom. Look at that. I consider that a good spot to wrap this up. I think you hit that nail on the head. I hope that I have been successful at both bringing the NBBA, our membership, a little look at one of our new players. I hope I helped your own Indy Edge have a chance to get to know you a little better.
To play with them a little bit more. And thank you so much for having me on the show, man. It's such an honor, man. And I promise I'll never unfriend you again, man.
I might unfriend you, so dude, don't. I got what I needed out of you now, so.
Yo, and a big shout out to Bam Bam over there, man. Give him my regards, man.
All right, you got it. No
give
problem.
He's a good player.
My pleasure. Right back to you. Now, I want to say Happy Father's Day to you, because I know you're a father.
Thank you.
3? Are you a father?
Two. 3. I better start looking around.
Well, no, I know you have the twins that are like
it's only
close to 13.
Oh, you know what it was? The woman I was with at that time had a son.
Okay.
So
I knew there was another older child.
An older child, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not my biological. I'm not with her anymore, but I'm with somebody else now. But I have my twin daughters.
Okay, that just explains my confusion.
And actually, my twin daughters are going to be on that new song. So they're in the background. Yeah, so they're almost 13 now.
Are they identical twins?
Yes, they are.
And are you and your brother identical twins? Also?
Yes, we are. They're 3 sets of twins in my family.
It runs in your family? Is it
does, apparently.
Generational thing? Or
it's funny. I think there's some kind of hidden gene that's undiscovered or something. There has to be an explanation for that. And maybe it's something in the water. I don't know. But it seems to be there are 3 sets of twins in the family, 2 generations of twins, because I have a brother and sister who are fraternal twins.
Oh,
that
wow.
we grew up with on my mom's side. All of it's on
your
my mom's
parents.
side.
Your parents.
I know. It
had been so busy. I also have a niece and nephew that are twins. That obviously
cool.
What's that? The paternal?
Fraternal. Mm-hmm.
Oh, fraternal. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. Going back to when I had eyesight until I was almost 11, and honestly, I've often said that I think God did everybody a favor taking my eyesight away, because I was a rude. I wasn't just a starer. I was a rude starer. And on the rare occasion that I saw twins, I just couldn't stop looking at them, because it looks so cool to see 2 different individuals that look identical. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's how's that possible? Nobody looks like me. When I was young and stupid, I thought somewhere in the world there's somebody that looks just like me. I didn't understand they're born
and it's even
together.
cuter. It's cuter when they're babies. Because you have fun with it as a parent. You dress them the same. Eventually they outgrow that, and it's not cool anymore, but it's so cute when they're babies. But even now, the girls, people come up to them, are you guys twins? And I remember when Derek and myself got that, are you guys twins? I mean, we're in our 40s now. Nobody's going, you guys twins? Nobody does that anymore. But, but I get a kick out of it as a twin, watching my girls experience being twins.
I think it's cool. I think
it is.
Part of me that's envious of it. I think it's a connection that nobody outside of that could ever understand.
And most twins are weird. Derek and I had our own little inside jokes and stuff. Nobody else would know what we're talking about, and we would have our little inside, and we still do it even to this day. Yeah. So we have to fill in our girlfriends to what certain things mean. We talk in codes, and we have to explain it. Yeah. But it's a lot of fun. And when I hear my girls, they're doing the same thing. I'm like,
and are you? So you're just as out of the loop with them as everybody else is with you and your brother?
because I don't always know what they're talking about. But I also know that it's a them thing. So I let them have it. That's what Derek and I still have, and they're gonna have that hopefully all their lives together.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, definitely right back to you. Give Derek my love, man. Tell him I said what up. And I'll be looking forward to hearing how you do out there on the beep ball field, dude.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Good luck to you and the Indy Edge. Yeah.
Shock them all. Edge strong, guys.
All right, everybody. I will be back next week with the NBBA's top dog, E-Rod, in the house. I look forward to it. I look forward to my sound being better at that point. I get my music back up and going, and we'll just keep this thing rocking. So
awesome.
I will see you all next week here on the Beep Ball Blues Show. Everybody be safe. Happy Father's Day to everybody that is appropriate to go to, and I'll catch you all later. Good night, Aunt Cindy. Tell Aunt Cindy good night, Alvin.
Adios.
Good man.